Um, so, all right. So the balancing corporate life and entrepreneurship. So, this is always there really is no solid path for this, but I can tell you what my journey was like. So, like I said, when I was younger, I mean, I always envisioned, being a businessman and making that kind of money. That was always what I kind of envisioned myself to be. And that presented itself when you're surrounded by people that are like-minded. So when I was 15 or 16, 2005, it was my friends decided to keep a house party. Now, it wasn't just this regular house party, people come over. It was a couple people, like about 100 people at a house in Montego Bay. We kind of buy some liquor and charge a liquor entry fee, and that is how Antidote Entertainment came to be. It really started as a house party thing. And then that quickly grew to hosting events at venues. We had a party called Officially Diagnosed, and this party that started at somebody's house at Westgate Hills eventually went from second, third, fifth, seventh staging. Was on Appleton Temptation Island, the grill for 2 years. It was probably one of the biggest parties in Montego Bay, the biggest party in Montego Bay for the summer for a little while. We had a good little run because we kept that event for about 10 stagings, right? And then that helped blossom just this whole promoter side of things and how putting on events and how that makes money. So then we not only decided to do one event, we did twice a year. So it was Officially Diagnosed, there was CPR. Eventually, we got a little bit older and started to do other types of events. A friend of mine, Karim, he and his friend Sanjay envisioned this thing called Montego Bay Crab Fest. And as much as that started small as well, it eventually grew into something that had about 7,000 people there and multiple acts performing and all sorts of other things. So, and that team, that core team of people, still stay together. We still do events. We put on a charity breakfast party now called Solar that donates money to Cornwall Regional Hospital. We've donated over 2.5 million now. So there's that side of the business. There's me as the promoter or the event organizer. There's Imagine Nation. So Imagine is something that me and my wife started in 2017. And I was always doing like social media management on a very small scale for like a few events and a few people that needed it, but I decided to monetize that skill. And we then did something that had duality. So Imogen has one side of things that does consultancy for businesses for digital marketing solutions, training as well. And then there's another side of it that handles custom branding or printing. So we have a production site in Montego Bay, and then there's a team in Kingston now that handles digital marketing for about 8 or 9 clients. And that journey was a little bit rocky for many, many reasons. And the custom branding side, especially because that literally started in our living room. Like we got one press and a book as to where to order from a brethren of mine who was in printing, but like he was gonna take it up, but he didn't decide to go into it fully and say, oh, you know what, just run with that type of thing. And stop. Oh, and he said, you know what, just run with that. So we started to order stuff and figure it out and print stuff, and eventually small orders turned into we started to get out a little bit more orders and use that to kind of fuel the events as well. So we do custom branded stuff for events, and before you know it, and my daughter was probably like 2 at the time, I had a living room filled with breakable items and a 2-year-old, and I was like, no, this can't go on anymore. So Bridget came to us one day and I was like, all right, cool, come set up a little section in my he has a whole production site in Montego Bay. Come set up a little section there. So went from that little section and 1 staff member to about 5 or 6 staff members now that are, as much as we moved the office to digital and moved a lot of stuff off site, it's still managed to survive what is this pandemic that we're going through. So I definitely am proud of what that business has been able to achieve, both on the digital side and the custom branding side. Last one is Fade Room. Now, Fade Room is what a lot of people say is like a premium barbershop, but it is a barbershop and nail spa in Montego Bay that I started in December 2018. Now, me and a brethren of mine named Anuki Miller, he went to high school with him, always been close. And I went to Miami probably about the February. Yeah, it was a February 2018. And it was some meetings that I had in Miami. And you know, you sit and you're just having a conversation with somebody and you realize you have like-minded goals. We really just kind of started to bounce ideas off one another. And I'm the type of person where I don't like to leave an idea as just an idea. You like to write it down, you like to explore it. And before you know it, with a lot of hard work and a lot of late nights, because the driving force for me was I used to get a haircut every Friday, but then try and fight traffic to get to downtown Mobay, to then fight and get parking, to then get to my appointment for then the barber to be late. And boy, I'm somebody that's always very on time and a stickler for time. So I said, you know what, there needs to be a better solution for this. There's a whole corporate segment out here in Fairview and it needs to be served. So I eventually found a space and opened up that barber shop in December 2018. We started with really just one barber, my barber actually, that's been cutting my hair for probably like 14 years now. And then it kind of expanded. We very, very proud to see what that brand is doing, and it's not going to be the last fade room. I want to actually expand that brand to Miami and Kingston as well. But we're taking it one step at a time and just hiring good people that understand exactly what my vision is. I take my brand very, very seriously and trying to build that from there.
Don't you have a podcast?
Yes. Oh, Faded. Okay, so Faded Conversations. So Faded Conversations came up as a result of the barbershop. So I always said that the best conversations are probably the ones that happen in a barbershop, because then you'll have conversations with random strangers and there's absolutely wildly different views, but people tend to kind of have a little bit more appreciation or respect for that in different settings. So I said, you know what? Any day I open a barbershop, I'm going to have a show where there's like a conversation in a barbershop. So I started a show that's on YouTube and a lot of other streaming platforms called Faded Conversations. Did the first season in the middle of the pandemic pretty much, last year, June, July, August. Brought some people on board to talk about topics that men don't usually talk about, like depression, violence in relationships, quite a bit of things. And it's really only up from here. I mean, Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica actually took up the show, and it's now being aired on PBCJ, on cable channels. It's still doing steadily on YouTube and a few other podcast platforms as well. So there's really a lot more growth that needs to come from that. We started season 2 a few weeks ago, and there's a lot of good content that needs to come out from there. So if you get a chance to check it out, please do. Faded Conversations. Yes, that's pretty much it.
What advice you give any young person?
On which part, Ed?
Anything. When it comes on to, because we're dealing with career,
okay.
Entrepreneurship. Going after your dreams.
Advice.
What would you say is one of the most common practice in going after chasing your dreams?
Start small. Start small, but start. So even if you deem that you don't really see how it's going to get to that point, start small and put some energy into it. You'll be surprised how small things turn into big things, because slow progress is still progress. You may turn around and think, oh boy, that goal is so insurmountable and how I'll ever really get to that. But you'd be surprised when you put in the work and focus. And if you make it a priority, you'd be surprised how things just kind of grow and kind of come your way and progress. That's all I can really say. Don't ever doubt what small actions and daily actions on anything can get done.
How do you see so lots of people, like my father, he used to have no bar, truck, this, that, but he always had a 9 to 5. And I remember asking, why do both? And he said, well, I always want a steady income. Why do you keep doing both?
I honestly keep doing both because of my family. Like I tell a brethren of mine the other day, say, if I wasn't married, if I didn't have 2 kids, probably me that just get up and take the risk and walk away at some point in time. But probably one of the biggest factors behind it is the steady income, and you kind of want to first of all, you want to continue to build the life you want while you're still kind of nurturing the life you have, type of thing. Until at one point in time, if any one of these businesses decided to, you know, expand exponentially, and I struggle with that. I struggle with wondering if it is that I'm not putting enough time into these, why they aren't growing because I'm over here doing this. But then the practical nature of life is that the bills are monthly. Like, you'd love to take a break from this and come back and say, oh, no problem, but you have responsibilities and you have to make sure you balance that. You have to be patient with it as well, because good things take time. I mean, I've been working for Digicel for quite a while to get where I've gotten, and these companies are all younger than that. So I need to consider that it could just be something that requires more time, and then I'll be able to deliver more energy to that.
Last thing, how is it important in selecting one partner to match your career and entrepreneur journey goals and friends?
Oh, selecting your friends as well. Okay, so.
Are keeping the same people around you? Did it change? Do you have new people?
So I'll take the friend one first. I've pretty much had mostly the same friends for as long as you've known me. Like, pretty much, yeah. Like that's one thing that has remained consistent. My core circle has remained consistent. And there are some people that are falling out. Yes, no problem. You get distant. You know, life is life, and we all get busy. But you have to have people around you that are like-minded, that understand, that are also going for their goals, because it will make you lazy. It will make you comfortable looking at people that are not necessarily going for theirs, and you will become, I will say, it's like a false sense of security. You'll feel like, oh, well, I'm doing better than this person, so I'm doing well. No, you want to have people that are always pushing the envelope, always encouraging you to the better, themselves to the better. Because if they don't want better for themselves, it's hard for them to want better for you. And then that can turn into animosity after a while, and you need to be very careful of those things. So as long as I keep people around me that are always ambitious, and I mean ridiculously ambitious. I mean, me and my friend him would talk about all sorts of, I was reading some messages I sent to my brethren the other day in 2009 about, you know, being on jets and owning yachts and all of them kind of things. And it reminded me that even then, when I had pretty much no money, I was still looking towards what the life I wanted, and you still need to keep that energy, because that is what's going to get you out of bed in the morning. The partner, definitely one of the most important things. I tell everybody that she is just that. Met her in 2010. Got married in 2017, yeah. And I will tell you that she's strong in the ways that I am not. So, and we support each other very well. It's hard for her to, I guess, appreciate sometimes. I mean, how seriously I take things and how my energy works, but she understands it. And I think understanding how she works as well helps me to appreciate another perspective, because you will deal with a lot of people in this journey called life. But if you feel like you can't come home to somebody and talk about it who can understand, who can make you feel at ease at the end of the day, then you'll always feel like you're kind of in that rat race kind of thing, that you're constantly going. My mind is always working, and it's always coming up with new concepts, new structures for things, and you have to have somebody that is going to sit there with you and help you sift through the fluff, or just come up with an idea way out of the dark that you just never would have come up with and be like, yo, I love that, I love you, thank you, all right, that's what I needed, let's go.